Front Office Insights are presented by Sage, and we welcome in Pirates General Manager Ben Cherington. Ben, it's Brian Kenny. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Good to see you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
This is a big day. I feel you're in a suit. Like, I know it's your home opener, but tell me the enormity of this day for Pittsburgh baseball.
Yeah, one day a year for the suit, but I'm going to follow the crowd here. No, it's exciting. I mean, look, most importantly, it's a home opener. We're going to have a sellout crowd. It's a great day in Pittsburgh for baseball. It's exciting that Konnor will be here, be in that lineup and play. Ultimately, it's about making the team better. We think that Konnor helps make the team better, and that's what we're focused on.
How do you think he got to number 9 to you in the draft? I didn't even script that question, but I'm just thinking it, like looking at his unbelievable success through high school, everything he did, and he was pitching. You tell me, what were you thinking draft day, and did you think he'd ever get to you at number 9?
Well, I think first you look at that draft, it looks like a really strong one for the industry. There are a lot of good players in that draft. Konnor looks like he's one of them. Going back to the draft room, I can tell you that certainly we had a group of scouts, analysts, coaches, a lot of people pouring into that decision that gave us a lot of confidence as it got to our pick at number 9 that year to feel confident in selecting him, which sounds obvious now, but again, you look back and a high school player from Mississippi who wasn't facing the best competition in the spring, all that. And it seems obvious now, but maybe it wasn't then. And again, a lot of good players in that draft, and Konnor's one of them. Why not have him debut on opening day? Yeah, I think, if you go back to the beginning of spring training, we entered spring training with an open mind to it. There have been many times when we do our entrance meetings at the beginning of spring training, well, I'll tell a young player, hey, you're not making the team this year. This is not the year. So this spring training will be about development or experience or whatever. In Konnor's case, I didn't say that. We were willing to learn more in spring training. It just happened as we got to the end, it didn't feel like the timing was right. Maybe he's pressing a little bit. We felt like there would just be some benefit in taking a breath, getting some at-bats in AAA. It wasn't a lot. 5 games is not a big sample, but he went there and played really well, looked like Konnor Griffin. And again, just going back to what I said before, the goal is to make the team better. We think this does that today. Now, he's a shortstop, right, Ben? I know he's listed as, but I know he's 6'4", 220 at 19. Do you see him as a shortstop for a long period of time? Very certainly so. I think that was certainly one of the things coming out of the draft that we believed he could, but nobody knew for sure, and we had to learn that, through pro ball. And one of the many things he's accomplished so far in pro ball is to prove to us, and I think prove to everybody, that he absolutely can play the position, not just stay there, but play it at a high level. We believe that. That's part of the decision today. We think the combination of him being on the team and being able to use guys like Tree and other players around the diamond just makes us a better defensive team overall. Ben, what can you tell us about the contract extension? Well, just that there's nothing to share other than it's great to hear from his mouth that Pittsburgh's a place that he'd love to be for a long time. And when we were fortunate that Konnor's a member of the organization, and he's the type of player, of course, that we'd love to see be a Pirate for a long time. And we'll see what comes, from that. Today, focused on today's game. Today's about his debut, about opening day in Pittsburgh, and it should be a great day. So there are reasons why you can't get into that deal, which is not yet official. Is that well generally? Yeah, I mean, generally, it's just not a topic we would talk about. He's a player we believe in a lot, and I think it's a good feeling to know that he has expressed that desire to be a Pirate for a long time.
Okay, and you can't announce it today. I think we get that. All right, you're off season. You got baseball-y. Jake Mangum is a good multi-dimensional player. Brandon Lau in that deal. You signed Ryan O'Hearn. It seemed like you were given the green light on a bunch of things. Tell us about the Pirates' commitment now to trying to get better and get into possibly a playoff situation.
Well, I think a couple of things came together at once this offseason. One was just that this really does accumulate over a long period of time, right? Like, it's sort of years in the making where you see guys mature. Guys like Brian Reynolds and Mitch Keller have been Pirates for longer than I have and are still here, critical parts of the team. We've had other guys that have come onto the team more recently. and have developed into really good players or are in that process still. So to some extent, it's a continuation of what has been building for years. Of course, you want to do it faster all the time, and I certainly wish I had done things even better to make it go faster, but we're trying to get there as fast as we can. So it was really that combined with, I think if you go back to, the deadline, we made some decisions at the deadline that also created a little bit more flexibility coming into the offseason. So combination of those two things coming together, building over time, a little bit more flexibility, led to an active offseason that we feel really good about. We're gonna see how this plays out, but really believe in how our group of players are responding to each other, the things they're focused on inside the room, how they're holding each other accountable, has been a really good thing to see so far.
Yeah, your club looked different. And I'd heard all that, and I was like, how was Ryan O'Hearn going to change that? Your club looked different. I saw opening weekend against the Mets. I saw that series. Now, in that series, we also saw O'Neal Cruz in center field defensively. What's the organization's read on that? And at any point, do you have to reassess that?
It was a tough opening day. And the read on it is he's responded really well, and the team has responded really well around him. He has all the skills to be a very good defensive center fielder. He really has worked hard on it this offseason. He put a lot of time into it. It was unfortunate how opening day played out, because I don't think it was reflective of the work he had put in the offseason or spring training. He did miss about 3 weeks of spring training with WBC, and that's a great event, but he didn't get to play a lot of outfield while he was on Team DR. So there's a little bit of catch up there maybe. Our focus is just to stick with him. Like we're going to continue to support his growth as a center fielder.
But it wasn't just,
really
I know the opening day, like you don't judge a guy on one day, but does he have the tracking that's like the natural, reps that he's going to be able to track a ball in center field? Some guys do, some guys don't.
We've seen it. I just think there's been a pitch here and there over time where, we got to execute better. He knows that, so we're gonna continue to work with him. But he's a big part of the team. Okay,
Paul Skeens, not much to ask about him except he's excelling. But Jared Jones, when do we expect him back in the rotation?
Yep, he's been off a mound. He's getting into live BPs. At some point soon, we'll get into a rehab, more of a rehab type assignment situation, probably later this month, barring something unforeseen. We've seen the velocity come back. He's in really good shape. He's kind of chomping at the bit. He's still in Bradenton. I expect some point in the next, week in the next weeks, we'll see him start to get into minor league games, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Ben, are you excited? You're very serious with me. I know you're in a suit and it's opening day. Right, there you go. You smile. Look, this is a big day, right? Like, no, this is, as John Hart says, it's echoing my head. This is how you draw it up, right? This is a good day.
It's a great day for the Pirates. Excited to be here. Excited to watch this group compete today against a good team in Baltimore.
Excellent. Ben, best of luck again with everything today and with the direction of the ball club. Congrats on everything that you can announce and everything else. Take care, Ben.
Thanks, Brian.